What's your opinion on the like how your finances work? Because obviously you got to take out fat loans and pay
Yeah,
for
no,
uni outright.
I wish that it was easier. There was better access to education for sure. I think the issue is just growing. Like financial aid and loans and stuff, they help a little bit, but just the price of college is pretty absurd. Um, and I think that is kind of a responsibility of the government to be taking on, some responsibilities for students so that they don't graduate with like, $180,000 of student debt. Because education is pretty important, I would say, um, and foundational and just like creating educated citizens and stuff. And that's not even just talking about like stuff like liberal arts schools, even stuff that's like practical training skill like schools where you learn to become like a mechanic or something like that. Making that accessible is just as important because we need mechanics.
Yeah, yeah, I know for sure. I definitely because in the UK our system's a bit more. I don't even know if you how much you looked into it here, but we have like apprenticeships where
Mhm.
most of the training jobs, like in terms of straight up mechanics, you can be taught as an apprentice and you get paid to learn at the same time. And I feel
Mhm.
like that whole thing is, I mean, I never did it and I don't really regret not doing it either, but I feel like there's so much potential in, training contracts or things like that, as opposed to just paying for anything in general, because you paying for it kind of makes it seem like you're getting something out of it. Whereas you shouldn't
Mhm.
need to get a job out of uni because you should just be able to get jobs like as it is.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, I just think that people are different and like some people are just not made to do a 4-year course and study liberal arts. Some people, it just makes a lot more sense to just go into technical training like that, like get your degree in like 2 years or something like that. And I feel like that option should be available to people who want it.
Yeah, absolutely. How much did you pay across your three unis?
So yeah, basically the tuition for the private universities is I think it's 42,000 for a year.
That's a whole
Yeah.
degree.
Yep. Yeah, so you guys have it good for sure. And there are definitely like cheaper options. There's like community college. I don't know if you guys have something like that.
Is that just where it's free entirely?
No, it's not free, but it's a lot cheaper. And it's usually what people do is they do like 1 or 2 years at community college, so they only have to spend like 1 or 2 years in like a 4-year institution, which are more expensive. And then there's also in-state versus out-of-state. So usually, if you live in a state, you're gonna have in-state schools where probably around the price of it's probably more expensive, probably like 10,000 a semester or something for in-state people. But yeah, like Texas has UT Austin and A&M, which are big in-state schools. So if you live in Texas, then you get that discount. Otherwise, if you're an out-of-state student, you'd have to pay like the $42,000 or whatever.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
How
so
come you
it's
have to?
important to be in a state that has good schools, I guess.
Yeah, literally. I mean, if you're born somewhere, or if you live in a state without the school that you don't want to go to, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's not good and it's not I don't know. It's not accessible.
Yeah, not at all. Is that? I mean, I feel like based on what I know of, I've seen pictures of like Cornell's and MIT's and these massive like colleges. I feel like the money is at least put to good use. Is that fair to say? Like you have massive sports fields, big facilities, like a lot of trips.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really varies per school. And like whether or not the money is being allocated well is always up for debate. Because, if you think about it from a university, like a private university perspective, like it kind of is like a business, right? You want to attract good students, so you want it to look all good and shiny. But there might be underlying issues like are the mental health resources being provided to students, like stuff that people don't really think about or like aren't as like visual. I'm not sure if that's the right word. But yeah, I don't know. I think some schools are doing better jobs at allocating their funds than others. I think that one of the benefits of like having the smaller private school is that yeah, you do get that like kind of one-on-one attention with professors, and like you might have just in general like better connections with people who are in an industry that you're interested in or something like that.
Yeah, it very much reminds me of like how private schooling works in the UK, where you have like the craziest resources, the craziest network, but then of course it comes at a price.
Hmm.
And I suppose it does come down to the student at the end of the day, like if you're going to make the most of what you have or, coast through. But then it's good how you mentioned mental health because I feel like that very much determines, whether you enjoy uni or not.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of schools are not allocating enough resources towards those kinds of services just because, like when you're on your college tour, you don't people ask about, the sports field or the science program or whatever, but no one really thinks about like, oh, but if you're struggling with your mental health, like are there resources to be supported here? Um, so I think it goes overlooked or it is overlooked a lot by colleges.